You ever notice how people act when you're too available? Like, you reply the second your phone vibrates. You say, "Yeah, sure," even when you're exhausted. You pick up calls in the middle of your own plans, and nobody seems impressed. In fact, the more you give, the less they seem to appreciate it. You've probably been there. Someone texts you, "Hey," and you reply instantly. And then they take 3 hours to respond. Or you drop everything to help someone, but when you need something, they're suddenly busy. Or maybe you're always the one initiating, checking in, showing up, and people treat it like it's nothing special. It feels unfair, but it's actually predictable. Because when you make yourself constantly reachable, people stop noticing the effort behind it. It's like background music. Always on, always there, easy to forget. Picture this. You're the friend who's always answering late-night calls, giving advice, helping with problems. At first, people are grateful, but slowly they start expecting it. Then they start depending on it. And eventually, they stop valuing it. Not because they're unkind, but because you made yourself accessible to the point where it didn't feel rare anymore. And here's the strange part. The moment you pull back even a little, people start acting different. You take an hour to reply instead of a minute, and suddenly they're like, "Hey, everything okay?" You skip one meetup, and suddenly your presence matters again. You create a tiny bit of distance, and that distance changes the whole dynamic. That's the power of being hard to reach. And today, we're talking about why it works, why being too available drains you, and how a little space can shift how people treat you and how you feel about yourself. When you're always available, people start to treat your presence like something guaranteed, like Wi-Fi. They don't think about it. They don't appreciate it. It's just there. And because it's there, they stop putting effort into how they interact with you. Think about it. If someone knows you'll reply the moment they text, they don't feel any urgency to respond with the same energy. If they know you always pick up, they don't mind calling you at the most inconvenient times. If you never say no, they don't even stop to wonder whether you might be tired, busy, or overwhelmed. You become a default option, a backup plan, because you're always on standby. You've probably seen it happen. You answer a message in 0.2 seconds, and then they take half a day to respond. You show up for someone instantly, but they show up for you when they get the chance. You're always reachable, but they only reach out when they need something, not when they want to check on you. And it's not always malicious, it's just human nature. People get used to the patterns you give them. If you're always available, they stop imagining you doing anything else. They stop picturing you having boundaries. They stop respecting your time, not because they think you're worthless, but because you trained them not to think twice before asking. It's like when a store is open 24/7. You don't appreciate the convenience until the day it closes early. Then suddenly you're like, "Wait, they're not open? That's weird." But all that time before, you took it for granted. That's how your availability works. When it's unlimited, it loses meaning. When it's constant, it stops feeling special. And when you never pull back, people forget that your time, attention, and energy are actually valuable. Being available isn't the problem. Being too available is. Because once people get comfortable with your effort, they stop giving you theirs. The thing about being too available is the exhaustion sneaks up on you. You don't wake up one morning thinking, "Wow, I'm drained because I reply too fast." No. It shows up quietly, in small, frustrating ways that you don't even connect at first. You start noticing that every notification irritates you a little. Your phone lights up and you sigh instead of smiling. Not because you dislike the person, but because your brain is tired of being on call all the time. Maybe you've had days where everyone seems to need something from you at the same moment. One friend wants advice, another is venting about their coworker, someone else wants you to review something, and you're juggling all of it while trying to handle your own life. And you keep replying, because that's what you've always done. But inside, you feel this low-key tension building up, like you never get a break, not even mentally. You start feeling overlooked too. You give people quick, thoughtful responses, and they hit you back with a half-effort message. Or worse, they leave you unread and return hours later with a tiny K. It's not just disappointing. It's draining. Other times, you realize you're giving emotional support to people who don't even check on you. You listen to everyone's problems, you calm them down, you give guidance. But when you need support, let's say silence, or a generic, "you'll be fine." That imbalance hurts, even if you don't talk about it. And then there's the guilt. You know that feeling? Where even when you're tired, you still feel obligated to reply. Like if you don't answer right away, you're doing something wrong. That's a sign you've let people have too much access to you. Your mind starts wiring itself to respond instantly, even when your energy is begging you to slow down. Over time, you start losing pieces of yourself. Your hobbies fade, your peace fades, your focus fades, because you're living on other people's timelines instead of your own. And the craziest part? You don't even have to be talking to anyone. Just expecting someone to need you becomes exhausting. You're stuck in alert mode, like your brain is always waiting for the next, "Hey, can I ask you something?" Being available feels nice at first. It feels caring, generous, supportive. But when it becomes a habit that everyone else benefits from and you suffer silently, that's when you realize you're tired because you gave too much access to people who never learned to appreciate it. Here's the thing, being hard to reach doesn't mean ghosting everyone, disappearing for weeks, or acting mysterious just to get attention. It's not about playing games. It's about finally choosing yourself. It's about shifting from constant availability to intentional availability. And for most people, this shift feels weird at first, because you're so used to giving instant access that taking even a tiny step back feels like a big move. But watch how simple it actually is. You start by responding when you have the mental space, not the second a notification pops up. If you're tired, you answer later. If you're busy, you finish what you're doing first. If you're not in the mood to talk, you don't force a conversation. Not because you don't care, but because you finally care about yourself too. For example, someone texts you a long paragraph about their problems. Before, you'd drop everything, write a thoughtful reply, and check in repeatedly. Now, you read it, take a moment, maybe handle your own tasks, and answer when your mind is clear. You're still supportive, just not at the expense of your own peace. Or maybe a friend calls you randomly during a stressful day. Before, you'd answer even if you were overwhelmed or in the middle of something important. Now, you let it ring and message them later. "Hey, I was tied up. What's up?" Simple, respectful, healthy. This is what hard to reach actually means. You have a life. You have priorities. You have boundaries. And you stop rearranging everything for people who wouldn't do the same for you. Another example. Someone invites you somewhere last minute. Old you? "Sure, I'll come." New you? "I've got some things I need to focus on today. Maybe next time." And guess what? The world doesn't fall apart. People respect you more when you respect yourself. Being hard to reach also means you stop explaining yourself too much. Before, if you didn't reply quickly, you'd send, "Sorry, I was showering. Then I was eating. Then my phone died. Then." Now, you just say, "Hey, I'm here now." Short, calm, confident. And the moment you stop giving unlimited access, you'll notice something powerful. You feel more in control. You feel less anxious. You start choosing your interactions instead of reacting to them. You're not being distant. You're being balanced. You're not being cold. You're being selective. You're not pushing people away. You're protecting the parts of yourself that usually get drained the fastest. This is healthy detachment. This is emotional self-respect. This is what it means to be hard to reach, in the best possible way. So, why does being less available work so well? When you finally pull back and stop giving unlimited access, something interesting happens. People start seeing you differently, not because you changed who you are, but because you changed the terms of how they reach you. First, your value goes up instantly. When you're everywhere, all the time, people get used to your presence. But when you give just a little space, suddenly your energy feels rare again. Think about it like this. Imagine someone who never shows up unless it truly matters. When they speak, people listen. When they appear, people pay attention. When they give advice, it hits differently. Why? Because they don't offer their time lightly. That's what happens when you become more intentional. People stop taking your responses for granted. They start actually reading what you say. They appreciate the moments you do show up, because it's no longer guaranteed. And no, this isn't manipulation. It's basic psychology. What's limited feels valuable. What's constant fades into the background. Second, it filters out the wrong people effortlessly. When you're always accessible, you attract people who love convenience. People who like you most when you're easy for them. People who expect support but never offer any back. But the moment you step back, watch how the wrong ones quietly disappear. They'll stop texting because you're no longer instantly available. They'll stop calling because you don't jump every time they need you. They'll say things like, "You've changed," when what they really mean is, "You're not easy for me anymore." And that's okay. Let them go. If someone walks away because you have boundaries, that person was never meant to stay. Your reduced availability reveals who actually values you, and not just the benefits of having you around. Third, you finally get space to rebuild yourself. This part is huge. When you stop replying instantly, you suddenly have these pockets of silence. Time you didn't even know you were missing. You get time to think clearly. You get time to focus on things you've ignored. You get time to feel your own emotions without being pulled into everyone else's. And here's the underrated part. Your confidence grows, your energy returns, your mind becomes calmer, because your attention is no longer scattered across every notification, every request, every message demanding an instant reaction. You're back in control of your day, your mood, your priorities. You stop running on emotional autopilot and start living with intention again. Fourth, your interactions become more meaningful when you're not drained. You communicate better. You listen better. You show up with your full self, not the tired version who's been responding to 10 people at once all day. So when you do reply, it's genuine. When you show up, you're present. When you talk, your words carry weight. People feel that difference, and you'll feel it too. Fifth, people respect you more even if they don't say it. They might not tell you directly, but they notice when you stop being instantly reachable. And in their mind, a quiet shift happens. You become someone who values their own time, someone who has things going on, someone who isn't waiting around for anyone. Even the people who used to take you for granted will start putting a little more effort into how they speak to you, how quickly they respond, and how much they appreciate you. Because now, they can't assume you'll always be there. They have to earn your presence again. How to be hard to reach without being rude. A lot of people hear "be hard to reach" and instantly picture coldness, ignoring everyone, or playing mind games. But that's not what this is. This is about creating healthy space, the kind that protects your peace without hurting anyone. Here's how to do it smoothly, naturally, and respectfully. First, slow down your responses just a little. This is the simplest shift, but it changes everything. Before, you might have replied the moment someone texted, mid-shower, mid-meal, mid-task. Didn't matter. You would drop everything just to answer. Now, you give yourself a moment. Finish what you're doing. Take a breath. Sit with your own thoughts first. Sometimes you reply after a couple minutes, sometimes after a couple hours, sometimes after you're emotionally recharged. You're not being rude, you're being balanced. And people feel the difference. They start matching your energy instead of expecting you to meet theirs instantly. Second, set tiny boundaries that add up. You don't need to announce you're setting boundaries. Just start acting like someone with a life. If you're working, don't reply. If you're eating, let the message wait. If you're in your me time, don't break it. People pick up on your patterns without you having to explain anything. Example: instead of dropping everything when someone calls, you simply message later. "Hey, I missed your call. What's up?" Normal, respectful, boundary-friendly. You still care. You're just no longer available on demand. Third, get comfortable with short, neutral replies. Before, you might have felt pressure to explain why you were unavailable. "Sorry, I was doing this and that and my phone died, and then I was..." No, you don't owe people your entire schedule. Now it's more like, "Just saw this," or "I'll get back to you later." Short, clean, zero drama. When you stop over-explaining, people naturally stop expecting explanations. Fourth, don't always pick up calls immediately. Call anxiety or not, you're not obligated to answer right away. It's perfectly okay to let it ring. If it's important, they'll leave a message. If it's not, they can wait. Example: you get a call in the middle of a peaceful moment. Instead of grabbing your phone in a panic, you let it ring out. Later you send, "Hey, sorry I was tied up. What's going on?" Totally normal, totally healthy. You've just reclaimed a huge piece of peace. Fifth, have a life outside your phone. This one changes everything. The more you're focusing on your goals, your hobbies, your self-improvement, the more naturally unavailable you become. When you're at the gym, reading, studying, creating, working on something meaningful, or even just enjoying your own company, your availability drops without you having to force anything. And people feel the shift because your energy becomes more grounded, more selective, more intentional. Example: instead of texting all day, you're busy leveling up your skills, or working on a project, or simply enjoying your solitude. You're not ignoring anyone, you're just living. That's powerful. Sixth, stop rewarding people who reach out at the last minute. When people know you'll always say yes, they stop planning ahead. They stop respecting your time. So when someone hits you up with a last-minute invite or problem, you don't have to jump. You can simply say, "Can't right now, maybe another time." Or, "I already have things going on." Even if your things are just peace, your peace counts. Finally, be available, just not for everyone. Being hard to reach doesn't mean you shut down emotionally. It means you become intentional about who you give your energy to. Some people deserve quick replies. Some people deserve slower replies. Some people deserve no reply at all. Not everyone gets the same version of you. And that's how it should be. This is how you stay kind and keep your energy protected. You're not rude. You're not distant. You're not cold. You're just no longer handing out your attention like a free sample. The moment you stop being constantly available, you're going to feel a shift, not just from other people, but inside yourself too. And honestly, the changes are bigger and more unexpected than most people think. First, people start respecting your time in ways they never did before. When you stop replying instantly, they start thinking before they message. They choose their words more carefully. They stop sending you random drama or unnecessary updates. Even the people who used to call you 9 times in a row or text at midnight will slow down. They realize you're not someone they can just tap on whenever they feel like it. In that respect, it feels incredible. You didn't force it. Your quiet, intentional space did the work for you. Next, conversations become more meaningful. When you reply less often, the moments you do communicate carry more weight. People stop giving you one-word replies and start putting real thought into what they say. Suddenly, your presence has depth again. Your words matter. Conversations stop being noise. They become connection. Then, you feel emotionally lighter. No more rushing to your phone. No more anxiety about replying instantly. No more guilt for wanting space. Your mind gets quieter. You start having real moments where you're fully present, without constantly checking if someone needs you. It's like your life has gone from loud, chaotic mode to calm, intentional mode. After that, your energy comes back. You don't realize how many tiny emotional leaks you had until you patch them. All those instant replies, all those quick favors, all those unnecessary conversations. They were draining you. When you stop being always available, you get more energy to focus on your own goals, your hobbies, your passions, even your rest. Your creativity and motivation return because your mind isn't constantly scattered. Finally, the people in your life start sorting themselves naturally. Some will fade away, and at first you might feel like you lost them. But then you realize they were never there for you, just for what you offered. At the same time, the right people step up. They respect your pace, match your effort, and appreciate your space. They check in thoughtfully, without demanding anything. And these relationships grow stronger, healthier, and more balanced. The biggest change of all? You regain control of your life. You're no longer living on other people's schedules. You're living on your own rhythm, your own priorities. Your availability becomes a choice, not an expectation. And that is one of the most empowering feelings in the world. Being hard to reach isn't about playing games or punishing anyone. It's about realizing that your energy, attention, and presence are not free. They're valuable,